My name is Cecilia Radovich, and I'm the Director of Education for New Harmony Line, which is the company that features Hyperscore, wonderful new way to create music. And Hyperscore is how I met our guest, Frederico, and he is from Portugal. And I wondered if you could describe for us, Frederico, how did we get in contact with each other? Do you remember that way back a year or so ago?
Yes, hello, Cecilia. Good evening. Evening here in Portugal. I think it's still morning there.
We're
Isn't it?
mid-afternoon.
Okay, okay. Here it's dark now. Well, we've met through the pilot test 2 years ago. I was searching in the web for resources for my classrooms, and I went with your pilot test, and
Mhm.
I subscribed it, and then I met you, Cecilia.
I remember hearing from you, and you were the first person outside of the US whom I had had any contact with. And I was geeking out. I was like, oh my gosh, somebody from Portugal wants to use Hyperscore. But I remember thinking how wonderful it was to meet you and find that you had found Hyperscore through Digitopia. And was that just like a resource for teachers, or was it in your library? Where did you find Digitopia? Where is that in Porto?
Well, Digitopia is in Casa da Música, which in English it means music house. It's a big building here in Portugal, or in Porto. Sorry, here in Porto, only dedicated to music. They have an orchestra. They have experimental ensembles. They have a gamelan ensemble, which
Wow.
I am part of. I am part of the gamelan ensemble, and they have a chorale, and they have the Digitopia, which is a room with lots of computers that people can explore software directed to music, and it was there I first contacted Hyperscore.
And isn't that interesting to think that they would have a resource where you could do musical things technologically? Will you tell everyone what grade levels do you teach?
Well, I teach the fifth, sixth, and seventh grades, which are corresponding to 10, 11, and 12 in September. And then I also teach in a professional school. It's the 10th, the 11th, and 12th grades in the professional curriculum. It's different from the ordinary curriculum. The professional curriculum here in Portugal is a curriculum connected to the European Union. It's not connected to the Ministry of Education. It also passes by the Ministry of Education, but it's a project from the European Union. It's by models, not by years. Students do models of music, of animation. That depends on the course. I teach several models in that professional school to the animation curriculum,
Mhm.
and they haven't tried Hyperscore yet in that institution, because that models I was talking about, they are very strict. I
Mhm.
have a planification that I have to follow very strictly. They in these past 3 months they finish a model that was directed to amplification and microphones and PA the amplification systems and connections like jack and Canon and so on. They are learning about that. They will have a model with audio and MIDI. Then I think I can introduce Hyperscore in that context. I must see how can I do that in that strict curriculum that I have to follow lesson by lesson. It's different from the regular school. It's more free. In the regular school, I'm more free to do whatever I think it's more adequate. It's more. I was thinking more about the MIDI function.
Oh, MIDI.
You can create music in Hyperscore and then export it through audio or through MIDI, and it's that possibility that I am thinking of exploring when I get into the audio MIDI model in that professional school.
That's very interesting. When you end up doing that, will you share some information with us about how you explored MIDI through that export? Because that is one of the wonderful features of the program is you can export it into MIDI.
Yes, Hyperscore can be a very nice way of creating and then exporting to other software like DAW, like Logic or GarageBand, and open the MIDI you have created in Hyperscore, and then continue production in that software by changing sounds and adding more in a DAW, also by audio or through MIDI. You can add effects and produce further the project you have started in Hyperscore.
It sounds like your 10th through 12th graders are doing some really sophisticated things with production, and it's wonderful that you can see a use for Hyperscore within that.
Yes, like I said before, Hyperscore is a creative boost. You can quickly create something to work in Hyperscore, of course, and work furthermore. And that is very interesting for teaching because it unblocks the creative process and makes things go more quickly. You can quickly create something and go ahead and play it with instruments or with other software by exporting.
Did I ever tell you, Frederico, or did we ever share with you, or did you know that you can actually print the music into traditional notation that they've created through Hyperscore? Did I ever tell you that, or did you realize that?
No, I haven't realized that yet. I subscribed the free test of the new app in October. I hadn't got the time yet to get into all new features of the new web Hyperscore. I saw new buttons, like there is one with a small guitar and a small keyboard. I didn't get yet what that do.
Do you want me to tell you what it does? It's an instrumentarium. So you can have you could select a set of rock band instruments, or you can choose a symphony orchestra, or you can choose some cultural things. And so you can make the instruments that appear in your windows be coordinated with an instrumental set. So that's a fabulous addition to the software.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. You can have a new context for your harmony and new colors. That's great. That's great. It's outside. We'll try it. As I said, I haven't got the time yet to explore all the features, all the new features. I will do that.
It's wonderful that we do have a resources for educators page on our website. And our Chief Technology Officer has been wonderful about making video tutorials. So if you ever want to know anything, what you're speaking about it through MusicFirst is called the Educator version. And if you want to know, how do I invite students into that? How do I put prompts, compositional prompts into that? He has videos set up for that. And usually the videos are about a minute long.
I will get into them.
Okay. All right. Let's go back and talk for a second. So you found Hyperscore through Digitopia. And then were you like me? The first time I ever saw Hyperscore, I was like, this is the missing link. This is what's been missing in my classroom for composition. I had not been doing, or I'd been having kids use 5 notes on the treble clef staff, and I would provide them chords. So my composition unit was very rudimentary. But when I found Hyperscore, I was like, I can step back and the kids can create their own pieces without me even having to present anything. When you found Hyperscore, what did you think of it at first? Like, what was your thoughts?
Well, my thought was just about what you said. It was just about that. It was an extraordinary tool for creation, and funny and very, very good looking for the students of my class. And they can draw with different colors, different tunes. It was perfect. It was great idea. At that time, the school had to buy it and install it in the computers. And we are talking about 2008.
So I remember you telling me you had found Hyperscore a long time ago, and then when you saw it again, that was very exciting for you because now it was web-based.
Yes,
Mhm.
yes, that was it. When it was web-based, I said, well, this is very good because now the access it's much simpler, and students can go by themselves at home or in the classroom. They can explore the program. Now it's part of a platform. Many of my students have already registered in MusicFirst as students. They are using it. The functions now are more reduced in the trial version, but they can create and save their project. If they want more, they talk to their parents and they subscribe the plans and go ahead.
I did. I just have been subbing for the last 8 weeks, and I had 2 students who went home and asked their parents to purchase it for them because they wanted some of the features and abilities of the program because they were people who could compose music, and they had no idea that they could do that until they were exposed to that through school. Right. And that happened to you too when you were presenting it in your classes, right? You had students who discovered that they were able to compose and they didn't
Yes,
even know it.
yes. That's the great part of Hyperscore. They quickly compose and create, and they surprise themselves with things they can do. Last year, when I start working with Hyperscore, they were tasked to do just a phone ring, for their cell phones, just a melody or just a written to export as audio and put it if they want to in a cell phone, and many of them had their phone ringing just to show me the melody they had made in Hyperscore. And then they were tasked to do an harmony with at least 2 melodies and a rhythm in minimum. And you saw it. You saw there was several projects with lots of rhythms and lots of melodies, and there was a concourse. They conquer each other to
A contest.
eh?
They had the contest.
The contest. Okay, that's it. Contest.
Mhm.
The contest. There was 2 winners, but there was a lot of good projects in that contest. Half of there was about 120 students involved in that test. About 60 went to the contest.
But so for your contest, you had the vice principal come, and I thought it was very interesting because there were like 14 of the peers, the other students came to watch the award ceremony. He gave a little speech before it started, and then the students were all so like they appreciated the fact that their peers did such a good job and on their pieces. And I thought that was a really nice way to give some support to those two students, but also that the 14 other students that were there, that was a way to recognize them that they had contributed to the contest. That was nice that they were there also.
Yes, and we must not forget that that was in the pandemic context.
Yes.
And we couldn't get too many people together. There was some restrictions yet. We would do a much bigger ceremony. That was the possible. And they were wearing masks and so on. And the prize was sent by you.
Was it Starbucks?
The Starbucks cards, okay.
Yeah,
The two Starbucks cards,
uh-huh.
two Starbucks cards for the two winners. Thank you
Yes.
for your prize.
So we had been talking about the contest that you had for your classroom, and I wanted to share the two pieces that ended up from our winners. And something that I really appreciated is that they had named their pieces, because I find that that really makes it very easy to understand, what it is that they're trying to get you to see in their work. So I'm on the New Harmony Line YouTube channel, and we have Portugal Presents right here in our line, and I'm going to just pull that up and let's see which one comes up first. So it looks like Instrument Battles is going to play first, and it's about 1 minute and 10 seconds long. And then what I'd like you to do is just tell us a little bit about, as a music teacher, what you found exciting about this student's piece. And I can tell you that visually, it's very interesting that she chose the rectangular notes. And look how visually colorful her work is, but then also the sound that is in her piece. So let's play for everyone, Instrument Battles. So I'd really like to know, Frederico, about what you saw with this student's piece, because it is really such an amazing work for, didn't you say would she have been 10 years old?
Yes, when she created, she was 11. She was in the 6th grade.
What do you see musically?
Well, musically, she definitely prefer the rhythm and few melodic instruments. She goes and open a window with a triangle, and goes and open a window with the
Symbol,
and then only to use it at one point, and then she creates dance rhythms, like the one in the middle It's very dense.
Mhm.
It has a lot of density. It's very cerebral. She thought a lot about this, and she definitely spent many hours doing this.
Mhm.
It's very geometric.
Mhm.
Uh,
Mhm.
Everything in the right place and very colorful. And
Mhm.
that's her. That's
Mhm.
her.
Mhm.
She's like that. And you all must believe this. This is not a random creation. This is created with full focus on any color and any line in there. She's like this.
Mhm.
This is there. She's this is her
Like she's a
totally.
very colorful person. So like this kind of display,
But at the same time, very colorful, but at the same time, very geometric.
yes.
Uh,
She even figured out how to make the dots small and large right here, and then to overlap the dots. And that sounded really cool in the piece when she was playing that. I noticed on the melody windows that she has chords stacked here. Did you have to teach her that, Frederico, or did she figure that out with her own ear?
no, we talk about shorts and the thirds intervals and how they can function each other and she used it. She used information from the theory lessons, of course.
Excellent. So she did that from what you were able to present to her in the classroom. That's an excellent example. What do you think it is about her piece that appealed to the other kids in the class?
They all know they all know her. I know her, and everybody saw her in that creation because of the colors. That's the way she dresses, and because of her joy and and her way of doing things and and her competence. It's very geometric and
Mhm.
everything very in the right place. And
Mhm.
everybody also recognizes a lot of work in that. A
Mhm.
lot of work that we all know it's not random. Every ball, every line, it's totally thought. It's mind made,
Mhm.
not let's do something here.
We have started to use this term that I think you're going to like, Frederico. It's called intentional composing. So everything she's doing was intentional. She didn't just
Yes.
randomly put things on the screen. She
No,
was
no.
she was placing things, listening to it, editing it, and saying, "I like this combination. I like where this lays." And we've been referring to that as intentional composing.
And the composition has several parts and several densities. Parts with higher density and lower density, and all that was mind made, was
Mhm.
intentional.
Hmm. That's wonderful. And it's such a wonderful example. And if you have time, I would like to look at the other piece because the other piece called Horror Circus is one of the ones where when some people look at Hyperscore, they don't understand necessarily what the person is doing because it sounds so different from what they would call traditional music. But I love the other person's piece because she named it Horror Circus. It was like programmatic. I had an idea in my head of what it was going to sound like. And, she really did a great job of bringing that across. And so I'm going to bring that one up and we'll take a look at this one.
this one has the same characteristics as the other one. I think the two winner pieces was selected because of that, because they are great and very well done with a lot of work on it. She has some problem. They are here in this composition. They are reflected here. This is her in a more dramatic way because she's like this, but she's the most competent student in all classes. She absorbs everything you teach. She knows everything. She is almost the perfect student. She have a certain sadness inside, and it's here in her composition also.
So she was working out some emotional things through this piece of music, and I could tell you right now that June would be so excited to know that somebody was able to tell their story through their piece of music. Since I first met her, that's been one of the reasons she so passionately wanted Hyperscore to be out there for people, is so that they could tell their stories. And I thank you for guiding her through that, because that, that had some personal meaning to her as she's working on her work. I noticed that she uses mainly single lines. She doesn't stack, no polyphony in her music, although she has the polyphony button chosen, but she doesn't stack music except for down here in the dark blue window. But isn't it interesting that she has form here? She has an ABA form. Had you taught form to your students?
Yes, they were prompt to do that. They also should do this at least two parts. They can do AB or A bridge A. A bridge, it was okay also. They couldn't do one thing, copy paste from the beginning to the end. They have changed something in the middle or in the end. Yes, here she was corresponding to what was asked for this job.
She completed the assignment as requested, and
Yes.
Look how awesome it is that she has such diverse dynamic levels. It's so funny as I'm listening to you talk, because this is exactly what I required of my students. That you also have dynamic levels here. Her purples are dramatic, and her little yellow window, which is just an easy ostinato, repetitive ostinato, she's got that pretty quiet in her piece of music. And then her low sounds are throughout the whole thing. And I was going to look at her dark green window. Oh, the tom is, look at, that's all the way through the whole piece, and it's one of the loudest colors in her piece of music, or one of her loudest motifs. I understand it in a whole different way. Number one, from the title, and then from hearing your description that, she used it to work out some emotional things. For people who weren't there, you did the presentation with the vice principal and Gabriella, and the peers were off to the side because of COVID. And they stood up in the front, and you presented them with their prizes, which were the Starbucks cards. And then all the peers clapped and cheered for them, which was wonderful. And then everybody got together so that we could get one picture of them all together on the screen. And that was just such a wonderful opportunity. I was thinking, here I am sitting in my living room talking to children and teachers in Portugal, and just what a wonderful connection that was for us, to be on different sides of the world and yet share something musically. That was just an amazing thing, Frederico, and I thank you so much for inviting me to be a part of that.
Yes, and for me and for my students here in Portugal, it was a great experience, and still is and going on. Here we are. We can more things, much more ideas and works.
You give us ideas, the next person we meet gives us an idea, and that allows our program to grow with people as they make requests and find ways to make our program even better. I thank you for taking the chance. Way back in 2008, Hyperscore was brand new, and that's about the time I started using it myself. And then when you rediscovered it and brought it back to your classroom again, that's exactly the dream that June had of bringing Hyperscore back out. Peter worked on it way back when it first started, and now he is the one who's doing the technology. And so it's a full circle for Peter as well.
This coding is one behind the code, the man behind
Yep.
the code.
The mind
Okay.
behind the code is amazing. Yes. We thank you for coming on and speaking with us and for sharing your students' music with us. We really, really appreciate them participating and all the other students who did the contest, and especially that their loving support of the two girls who did win.
Thank you,
Okay.
and see you soon.
Have a great rest of your week.
Bye.
Bye-bye.